Moving on. So Quinn is back to being Papi, okay? And what I mean by this, I like looking into other teams to see what's going on. So we've got an on-3 pass. I do some digging into other teams and read about them. And I wanted to read on some spring notes, see what was happening. Not a single line about Arch Manning. Not a single line. There was two things that I read. I can't remember who their backup name is at the exact moment. Can you look it up for me real quick, Steve?
Yeah, sure.
The Texas Longhorns backup. But a lot of it was about Quinn Ewers kind of finding his position, looking a lot better coming off of last year. It just talking about how well he's performing. And I read another article. It talked about, obviously, with Quinn and then the backup who is now taking second reps. I think he's coming off an injury. But he basically came right in and has already fit into that second slot. And it was almost as that noise about Arch versus Quinn was just a media kind of just conspiracy jumble. And that's what we talked about last time. That's exactly what we said. It was like, it feels like it just is being forced because it's a fun conversation. I just don't see Quinn losing this. And I got a lot of flack because last time I thought Quinn was a sophomore. He is a junior. That his Ohio State was his first year. It felt so bleak that I didn't recall it being his first year. People let me know that I was an idiot, as they should. But it is good seeing that Quinn does have his job, rightfully so, locked in. Because I'm excited. Look, I'm beyond excited to watch Texas football. I really am. It just, to me, it's something that it's been a while since they've been back, and it scares me because they're coming to the SEC. But Quinn Ewers is something special to watch. And they even said, look, even though Arch is right now look like he's third on the list, is still just ready to rock and roll. Who's that second quarterback there, Steve?
It looks like they got Malik Murphy. Is there? Yeah.
It was an M. I just couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, and you look. I mean, he's 6'5", 235. I mean, we all know that size is great when it comes to college football. Like, if you're a freak of an athlete on the field, you can probably do some pretty good things, but that doesn't mean you can be consistent. Look, you look at Texas, and if Quinn doesn't go down in that Alabama game, I don't see how Alabama wins it. I really don't. But I mean, you've got Quinn Ewers. The guy is clearly out there to play football. He came back from a broken collarbone, I believe, which is a really, really difficult injury. If you've ever sprained your collarbone, you don't want to even lift your thumb. And then you got Malik Murphy there. So the fact that Arch Manning isn't coming in with the traction as potentially starting that everybody thought he would, it just makes football sense. It just makes good football sense. Again, if there's a lot of noise in the system, if Texas comes out and gets off to a very, very flat start, even if they're winning, but they're winning ugly, you could start to see some noise. But it just doesn't look like even if Quinn isn't the guy that Arch Manning is going to propel himself over Malik Murphy, barring potentially an injury or something else that you can't predict.
It's still early. The spring game's really going to stir things up some more when they're able to see all three quarterbacks throwing in a game setting. That's going to really just set the thing on fire if it looks that case. But yeah, it makes good football sense, but it also shows that quarterback room is something special, and it's going to be special for a little while now. And I know Sarkisian doesn't have a lot of love coming from him right now. I was on the Hall of Fame podcast with Jason, and he's a big OU fan. He was kind of ragging on Sarkisian, saying he's not really that guy, but the guy can recruit, and he is recruiting. So that's just something to be said.
And he's got a good lineage. I mean, he was at Washington. He made Washington respectable. He went to USC. He was a drunk, right? He got a little loose in LA, which, let's be honest, he fell. It's LA. He fell victim to
There's no fans to watch it happen, anyways. Nobody watches those games out there and at the Coliseum. So
where is it again? Is it in the LA? Okay, yeah, I've never heard of it. But then he gets picked up by Nick Saban, and he goes to the home of wayward boys, where Nick Saban revives every coach that's ever had anything gone wrong. And he's done well at Texas. I don't think he's not at Texas level yet, but I think he's good enough to get Texas back to where they're competitive every year. And that's the one thing for Texas that they haven't been. They haven't been competitive every year, not consistently. They've had a good year, but they haven't been competitive every year. And that's where Texas expects their coach to get. I think Sarkisian might be a little ways off from getting them to national championship level or even consistent playoff level. But I do think that he's the coach that can make them competitive year in, year out to push for that one maybe year where everything comes together and it can get them into the playoffs and maybe even push for a natty.